The Florida Gators have an all-new off-ball linebacker room, and I'm excited for it. We're going to talk about it here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another bonus episode of Locked On Gators, because it's 2 days, baby. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Happy Monday evening. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. We're talking linebackers today because last year, the Florida Gators started Ventrell and Amari Burney as their starting off-ball linebackers. This year, you're going to be replacing both of those guys. And it's tough because Ventrell, first off, absolutely wish the speediest of recovery for him. It was announced earlier today that he tore his Achilles, or he has an Achilles injury that will keep him out for the remainder of the year. So my assumption would be a torn Achilles. Sucks for him. I mean, he's dealt with injuries so frequently now throughout his career. It's just incredibly unfortunate. But he was the starter last year. He got injured in week 2 with a fracture in his foot and played the entire season except for week 3, where week 3 he did not play against South Florida, and then he came back against Tennessee, and you cannot say enough about his ability as just like a gladiator for the Gators. He was the embodiment of Florida Gators football, leader, enforcer in the run game. I think the biggest thing that we're missing here from him is the leadership. He was in Gainesville for a while. He was the primary communicator for this defense, and it was very, very abundantly clear that when Ventrell Miller was not on this field in 2022, the Florida Gators defense was significantly worse. And that is not, I love Ventrell. That is not because he's this world beater, elite draft prospect, elite linebacker on the planet. No, he's an elite leader on the planet. That's what he was. And for the defense, he was the guy that held everything together, and the defense wasn't good last year. It was significantly better with Ventrell on the field and significantly worse with him off the field. So Ventrell is, I feel like it's safe to say, like, you can't replace that kind of leadership. You just can't. You could try your best to, but immediately that's just not going to happen because he's someone who bled orange and blue. Then you look at the will linebacker next to him was Amari Burney, who was Swiss Army knife athlete. He was drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders this past April, which that move just still confuses me. I know I wasn't super high on Amari Burney. I just don't know how they plan on using him. Patrick Graham used to be the defensive coordinator of the Giants, and when he did a lot of fun things, but I just don't think of Amari as a fit for them, which is why it confuses me a bit. So that's my confusion more than anything else. Is not talent wise. It's just, I think schematically, I don't think he's a good fit there. But what he did last year with the Florida Gators was nothing short of insane. Like, I have no problem admitting I was very low on Amari Burney going into the season. I did not want him to be a starter. I didn't want him to be second string. And he came out and had the best year of his career easily because he had a damn good year. Operating in pass coverage, he did a good job. He came away with making multiple plays on the ball, even if it didn't work out every single time. Like, I'm pretty sure he was the guy against Georgia. He tipped the ball up and they made the catch, and it was a huge play. Like, that's still making a play on the ball. I'm not going to go, oh, well, he tips the ball. No, that was a great play that he made. And he made plays like that throughout the entire season. He started off last year game-sealing interception in the end zone against Cam Rising and the Utah Utes. That was Amari Burney. Like he made great plays. He did a hell of a job as a pass rusher when he was putting in QB spies. I don't know. That was one thing that he did exceptionally well. Like, Amari Burney would be putting a QB spy, And he did such a good job of not just reflecting the movement of the quarterback and making sure the quarterback can't run. He did such a good job using that athleticism to close the gap and actually get sacks from it. And that, I don't know if you're going to be able to replace that, just because that was like next level IQ play when playing that QB spy. And if you don't know what QB spy is, it's basically, hey, defender, your responsibility of this play, because they have a mobile quarterback, your responsibility is just go where the QB goes. If he moves to his left, you move to his left. Okay? Like you're going right wherever he goes across the field so that he can't run. He's gonna know you're right in front of him. And Amari Burney would go, okay, I'm gonna do that, but I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to be spy turned pass rusher. And he did a fantastic job at that. So you're going to be replacing him there. You're going to be replacing him specifically with Shemar James, who we'll talk about in a second. Big fan of what Shemar can do and what Shemar is really going to be this year. Before we talk about him, now is time for your game changer of the week, brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. And much like Austin Armstrong for the Florida Gators defense, Athletic Brewing has completely changed the non alcoholic beer game. They make non alcoholic beers that, get this, taste good. Armstrong heads into game one of his Florida Gators coaching career against the Utah Utes this Thursday. He's going to have a Florida Gators defense that, get this, plays good. Athletic Brewing is constantly releasing limited edition experimental styles to add to their variety. A lot like Austin Armstrong defensively. You can find Athletic Brewing Co.'s non-alcoholic brews at a store near you or buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use code Locked On to get 15% off your first online order. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. We're a couple of days away from the Florida Gators taking on the Utah Utes, and if you're looking for tickets this late, Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less money, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Come on now. I used it a few weeks ago. Went to watch Braves at Mets at Citi Field. Senga was pitching. Dude was electric. You can snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 with Game Time. So download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day. And I do greatly appreciate you tuning in. Please do be sure to like, subscribe, comment, review, do whatever it is you want to do. Join the Locked On Gators Discord. Links in the description below. But now we're talking about 2023. Ventrell Miller and Amari Burney are going to be incredibly difficult to replace. I think that they both did things that you really can't replace right now. I don't think you can replace Ventrell's leadership. I don't think you can replace Amari Burney's IQ. But we're going to try to do that in Gainesville this year. Shemar James is the big name. He's going to be the will linebacker this season. It's his time to shine, replacing Amari Burney. I think that the defensive system now that Austin Armstrong brings compared to Patrick Toney last year is going to put Shemar James in spots to make huge plays every week. Shemar James is a fantastic athlete, quick first step. Guess what? When you have a quick first step and you're fast as hell after that too, and you're used as an off-ball pass rusher, yeah, you're going to have some fun. You're going to generate some pressure. And I think operating in the coverage systems that Shemar James is going to be operating in specifically with this Austin Armstrong defense, I think he's going to have a good time in coverage as well. So Shemar is like everything is shaping up for Shemar James to just have an insane year in 2023. The part there is he's playing a lot more this year than he played last year. How will that transition? How will he hold up well over time? Stamina wise, how's he going to do there? But skill set wise, we know Shemar can do anything he's going to be asked to do. And also, I'm not questioning his stamina. I'm just saying it's harder to be consistent with a larger sample size instead of coming off the bench, be great for a few plays, and then hop out, catch your breath, and do that. Not going to get to do that. Instead, he's going to be the starting will. He's going to be the guy where it's like, hey, we're facing a mobile quarterback. We need you in spy. It's going to be Shemar James. Hey, we're blitzing. We're blitzing and we want to send off the edge. It's going to be Shemar James. Like that's going to be the guy. He's going to be the Swiss Army knife that Amari Burney was. Although I will say Amari Burney had the safety experience coming down to linebacker. Shemar's not going to have that. But however, I do think that just physical talent wise, Shemar James is better than Amari Burney, but Amari Burney's IQ was phenomenal. You look at the Mike linebacker, Taraja Mitchell, Derek Wingo are it's going to be one of them. We haven't had the announcement yet of who's definitively starting, but they're the two guys that are likely going to be starting at the Mike. Taraja Mitchell, of course, Ohio State transfer, more of a physical run, just thumping linebacker, which you love to see. I mean, Ventrell brought that just on the field. That's what Ventrell brought as far as actual skill set wise. So you've got that physical style, you've got the thumping run defensive linebacker, along with Shemar James, more athletic, all that. Derek Wingo has been here for a couple years. He's been in the linebacker room for a couple years. He's got experience, or for a few years, really. He's got that experience coming off an injury from the bowl game and dealing with that. But Derek Wingo potentially going to be Mike linebacker 1. And I'm kind of hoping it's him, just because I think that when you look at, and also it's very possible that we see different combinations starting throughout the year. But I think Shemar James and Derek Wingo would just be a great athletic off-ball linebacker duo when you do have the two linebackers out there. I feel like they present more in pass coverage, but you also have the counterpoint of Shemar is great in pass coverage, Taraj is a great run defender. Let's get them both on the field and not have a great advantage in any spot, but not be at a disadvantage. Behind Shemar James, expect to see Scooby Williams, Manny Nunnery. They're probably going to be the guys that play again, but I would expect Shemar to be the most played will linebacker this year for the Florida Gators, or most played off-ball linebacker for the Florida Gators this year. I just think that he can do so much with this defense that's going to put him in position to do that. It's really hard for me to go, he's not going to be the guy. And keep in mind, you're going to see rotations here. You're going to see Taraja and Shemar. You're probably going to see Wingo and Shemar. You might even see Taraja and Wingo at some point if they can get Wingo to learn the will linebacker spot as well as Mike. And you could just go nuts with it. You're going to see a lot of combination, a lot of rotating. This is going to be a defense that's going to be improved from last year, way more aggressive than they were last year. And I think in the long run, Florida Gators defense is going to benefit from that, especially compared to last year, which is one of the worst Florida Gators defensive performances that we've seen in, I mean, it's been a rough couple years defensively for the Florida Gators. Let's be honest here. But things are looking up now. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more Florida Gators football. We're talking recruiting. We're talking cornerbacks. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33, and I will see you all tomorrow.